Back up on CBS Sports HQ is the nets are down and the trophy is up. Colorado State, your conference tourney champion in the Mountain West, and with that, time to go dancing. Tim Doyle, Matt Norlander, always can be found on a dance floor near you. Joe Musso, your host, fellas. This was exciting stuff, and this was sustained success at the offensive end here. 50% from three-point range by a Rams team that now has won 10 in a row heading towards tourney time. Matt Norlander, what impressed you most about this offensive performance first and foremost?
Well, it's just another example of what Niko Medved has done here in getting this team to the NCAA tournament and how well they distribute the ball. I actually talked with Medved a couple of days ago before we knew what was going to transpire, and he kept on harping that this team's connectivity as a group on the floor in the locker room has been tremendous. And then I have to highlight Nick Clifford because he is playing like a first-round pick. In his past 6 games, he's averaging 25.3 points per game, better than 10 rebounds, better than 5 assists. He has been incredible. If I had to log my All-American ballot today, and we don't, we still got time for CBS Sports, Nick Clifford would at worst be a third-team All-American for me and maybe even second team. He's been outstanding. Colorado State, that's a bid thief, baby, and it's in doing this and looking at as impressive as they did, Joe, even more intrigue for Selection Sunday because they just took away some team's NCAA tournament ticket.
Yeah, high praise in the eyes of Matt Norlander. We'll get to some of that bid stealing and what this means moving forward. But Timmy, 10 in a row, haven't lost since February 11th. You start to forget what it's like to lose. How much is that momentum worth as we turn towards the tournament now?
You know, Matt used the word connectivity, and that was a word that's a new word. Like when I played, that was not really a word. It's so important now. I call it role definition because these teams are changing, Joe, year to year, right? It's no more like, oh, you don't really play as a freshman, get some run as a sophomore, junior, maybe you crack the starting lineup, senior, you're the guy. Like, no, like that doesn't exist. When I came up playing, like that was kind of the path that you were on. So a team like Colorado State that earlier in the year lost to UC Riverside, that earlier in November beat Tennessee State in overtime, they're a completely different squad. Like they have just completely changed from November to now, and they're rolling. I mean, it is not easy in any sport, especially college basketball, to beat a team handily 3 times like Colorado State just did to Boise State. Guys, this game was not competitive. They led by as many as 25 points. They actually were 12 of 24 from 3. Joe, you mentioned it, 50%. They were 10 of 27 from 2. Forget about the 2s, boys. Let's shoot the 3s. And at the end of the day, Nico, get your money, my friend, because you are going to get a huge, huge payday. Whether it's, not going to name names, Minnesota, Iowa, Indiana. He is going to be one of the hottest coaches out there, Matt and Joe.
Well, I wanted to spin this thing forward. I don't know about that far forward. Matt Norlander, let's dial it down to the here and now forward, let's say. As you project this team towards tourney time, the winning streak is one thing. The shooting numbers, those are likely to regress. How do you look at this team once we place them in the bracket?
Well, for me, I think that Colorado State's going to be a 12 seed. I'd be surprised if that's not the case because if Colorado State had lost the game, they probably would have come up short and not been in that large. But clearly, you look at the win total, you look at the teams they defeated, they're going to be on the 12 line. Consider the teams that go to Dayton for the first 4, they're going to be on the 11 line. So CSU, and we'll see how we, my overriding thought after watching Colorado State do this, and I was in my hotel room in New York City after 2 a.m. watching this team last night, dialed in on the Rams. They are, I don't even care what team is on the 5 line. They are so tempting to pick in the vintage 12/5 upset. Nick Clifford has been that good. It's not just him, obviously, but he is a genuine stud. So as we wait and see what happens on Selection Sunday, it is my entire anticipation that the Colorado State Rams will be a 12 seed. And unlike last year when they were in at large and they got sent to Dayton, auto bid teams, if you're not on that 16 line, you do not go to Dayton. They will be playing on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, I thought their bench was awesome in this game, Moose. 26 points. Morton was great. Bourne, you know, obviously Neek's going to get a lot of love, and rightfully so. The guy was awesome earlier against Boise when he had 36 points, followed up with another solid effort. He was out of this world against Utah State. Now the Mountain West gets 3 teams, right? New Mexico, Utah State in, and now Colorado State. I couldn't agree more with Norlander. Like, this is one of those teams you don't want to see because they're playing at a high level. They have a superstar. They're playing their best basketball. They all buy into the system. Like, they could run into a 5 that's super talented, but that's been up and down all season long. Oh, yeah, you do not want to see this team in the tournament.
Well, we will see who they end up opposite of. I think something there maybe to pick at here. Matt Norlander, do you see the same here for the Mountain West? I believe a 6-bid conference, if I'm not mistaken, a year ago. Many of those fell early and often on those first 2 days. What do you see when you look at the Mountain West?
Well, okay, we're going to have New Mexico in. It's a lock. It could be in the 8-9 game. Utah State, it could be also in the 8-9, if not a 10. Colorado State has a 12. And then San Diego State and Boise State are the 2 teams. To me, I particularly don't think it's all that debatable. I think San Diego State should be in with a little bit of breathing room, knowing full well we still are not fully clear of all bid thieves. The American with Memphis on Sunday is certainly something to look at. And maybe if VCU didn't win the A-10 tournament, maybe they could squeak in. But just keep that in mind when we talk about what teams might be projecting to be in or on the cut line. We still aren't out of bid thief territory. I do wonder, I'm not saying I agree with it. In fact, I got to take a good scan of this as we go Saturday into Sunday. I do wonder if Colorado State winning this might have ripped it from Boise State, because I think San Diego State is ahead of Boise State in the overall Mountain West hierarchy. I would be shocked if both of those teams missed the tournament. I think San Diego State right now, when you compare its resume to others in the field, it clearly has an edge. Maybe that means still going to Dayton, but I think the Mountain West, a year after sending a record 6, will be sending 4 on Sunday.
Right, and San Diego State went to a Final Four a few years back. I love seeing conferences like the Mountain West, like the Missouri Valley. I love seeing those conferences getting respect over, the traditional blue bloods. Like, North Carolina had 13 quad 1 games. That doesn't even sound real. They won 1. Like, if you put Colorado State in that same opportunity, if you put Boise State, if Matt's saying they're on the bubble, in the same opportunity, and I know North Carolina probably isn't going to get in, but they've been square on the bubble talk the last week or so. Xavier's another team. They're 1-9 in quad 1s. Like, these teams in the Mountain West, and I'll lump the Missouri Valley as well, they have a hard time scheduling because Power 5s or Power 6s, whatever you want to call it, they don't want to go to their places. You know how hard it is to get somebody to go to Boise State or Utah State? Like, they have a really difficult time scheduling. So I would love to see more of these teams get an opportunity to make some noise. But Moose, you mentioned it. You got to go out there and deliver in the tournament. And last year they didn't do so. I'm sure they're hoping for a bigger turnout this year. It shouldn't affect, right, the committee, what you did last year, but I don't know. We're all human.
It seems to all affect, and we will talk about the effects of it all coming up on CBS Sports HQ on Sunday, our Selection Sunday show. Both of these gentlemen will be present and accounted for. Thank you, fellas. And for more, we'll take you back out to the site where CBS College Hoops analyst Steve Lappas is standing by. Lap, great to be with you as always, as we really just saw a breathtaking performance on the offensive end here by Colorado State. It was win or wait, and they win in a big way here. What did you see at that end of the court that led to that sort of success shooting?
Well, they're a great half-court offensive team, and they run such good stuff and create such unbelievable spacing, and they go 12 for 24 from the three-point line today. And, obviously, if you go 12 for 24, you're going to beat a lot of teams, but they screen well. They have a lot of good shooters, obviously. They don't turn the ball over. They are a tough team on the offensive end, without a doubt. And how about this? They go 12 for 24 from 3, and they go 10 for 27 from 2. So the three-point shooting tonight was just unbelievable.
It was spectacular. 50% obviously there from the field, a team that shoots at 36% over the season from long range. But you said something late in the broadcast, Lap, that's very illuminating here, because water finds its level, the shooting will regress. Defensive effort is something that can sustain and take you places come tourney time. What did you see defensively this effort today, and what does that mean for Colorado State moving forward?
Well, in this 10-game stretch, that's what Niko Medved emphasized to us when we talked to him, was his team is holding people to 40% shooting in this 10-game stretch. So they are very, very good defensively. They're not the most physical, strong, big team, but they do a great job of playing on a string, helping each other out, always being aware where the ball is. And they had a terrific game plan because they gave Tyson Degenhardt, who's a great player, they gave him all he wanted tonight. So it's a combination of coaching and everybody being on the same page, both offensively and defensively.
Haven't lost since February 11th. Why stop now, boys? We got a champ in the Mountain West. Lap, appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
All right, so the great Steve Lappas there on the call as we have crowned a champion and filled a line. What does that mean moving forward? Well, coming out of the Mountain West here, maybe an unlikely champ, or at least not one we saw earlier in the season. Started 5-5. Preseason projection 7th in the conference, and they're claiming a conference tourney title as Colorado State will go dancing. More reaction coming here on the tail end of the Mountain West title game. Matt Norlander, Tim Doyle stopping by as we push this thing forward for the hot shooting Rams.